Hey, good morning. It's Mike Chunky, Berkshire Hathaway Homes and Shipton Properties in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're going to talk about residential, we're going to talk about commercial, we're going to talk about the economy. I want to touch on some privacy issues, and then I really want to jump in. I like to keep these about 10 minutes, but I really want to jump in and explain interest rates. I think I guarantee you most agents and most analysts have no business talking about that, but I traded bonds for a lot of years, so I feel like I can discuss that, but there's a lot of bad information out there. And, again, let's start with inventory, actually. Multiple listing service. And inventory, kind of down this week. Scottsdale, we actually lost 57 single-family detached homes. There's 1,603 single-family detached homes for sale in Scottsdale. Maricopa County came down a little bit. So we're kind of back to those March inventory levels. We were looking good. But now we're getting a lot of the houses that were overpriced and sitting on the market. Those are expiring or canceling. What did we have? 2024, up until this point, the end of the month is always a great time to look at expired listings. This month in 2024, we had 264 single-family detached homes expire and 368 cancel. This year, we had 486 expired listings in the single-family home market. So we had a lot of those, like I've been talking about, that gap, overpriced listings. They're going to take it off for the summer. And like I mentioned, I don't think that's always a great price it right. Don't take it off. But, your housing, it resets after 45 days to zero. But everybody can just look back and see that it was previously on the market. So you're not tricking anybody. But, so inventory's down a little bit. And, buyers, we've been busy this week. It's a little bit interesting. It's taking longer. We're spending a lot of time rebutting the media claims, proving they're wrong. I don't have time to go over all of that, but and it's not all wrong. It's just when taken out of context, the numbers really don't make sense. We're really back. I can't stress it enough. It's really just a normal market. Pretty balanced across the valley. 85259. Yesterday I posted something. It's pretty balanced. We have buyers and we have sellers. Buyers coming from out of state relocating, they're saving on taxes, and they're used to paying that $1,000 a month tax bill, which we don't have here in Scottsdale and Phoenix area. So they can pay a little bit more for their house, and that's propping up. Prices are up 1% across the valley this year, but again, I don't want to drill in on that because it's mostly the $1 million to $1.5 million, which is kind of our bread and butter, our target market around Scottsdale. But across the valley, prices are up 1%, over $3 million. Number of sales was up 18%. So there's a lot of money coming in. What did Scottsdale was just named the largest increase in millionaires. There's a lot of money coming as banks, and they say it's the tech jobs. We've become the kind of, what do they call it, the Silicon Desert. So a lot of tech jobs coming into the area, and it's just attractive. You really can't beat 300 days a year in sunshine. So a little warm in a couple months of the summer, but I'll take that over scraping ice off of the windows or breaking ice out of the gutters in the winter. So anyway, we love it. It's just a lot of population coming in. And, we have 7 sellers market across the valley, 9 balanced markets, and 13 buyers markets. So it's just you really have to drill in and look at your specific, whatever you're looking for, to buy or sell. 39 days on the market is average. So we're getting close. Average listing to under contract. 39 days is average. Across the valley again. If the house is perfect and it's priced right, it's going to sell right away. In fact, I've been doing this long enough. I'm pretty good at knowing what a house is going to close for. And they talk about pocket listings and cooperation and things like that that's changing a little bit, some of the laws, but you may read about that in the news. But, it's just a matter of knowing if it's an 85259 and it's a house, I know it. I know what it's worth, and I know if they want to sell. So that's what I consider off market. So we see a lot of those trading. I did see again this week. Couple, they were asking over $4 million. They closed below $3 million, and that brings me to actually There's a couple properties that I've made offers on with clients, verbal offers, and I always say, you got to put it on paper. Those properties closed recently below what we were, or my client was willing to pay 3, 6, 9 months ago. So, you just price it right out of the gate. It's a no-brainer. You cannot test this market. So we've got a lot of people in this week. Our listings are getting a lot of showings. So it's busy. It's active out there. So we've got a lot to do today. Anyway, what are we doing? Commercial. Arizona, like I said, all the growth in millionaires and small business owners coming in. So we actually had a couple of good conversations with doctors this week about buying their practice or buying the real estate. There's some new luxury garages coming in up by Westworld. I kind of think that market has sailed, but who knows? There's a lot of those. Those are about $400,000 to $1 million. So why wouldn't you just buy the house with the property and build the garage? But that's just me. Everybody wants something different. And what I like isn't necessarily what you like. And so that's why we have to communicate and see that. Blackstone is lending $230 million storage portfolio. Most of it is in Phoenix. That's just when you see the population flows, you need storage units. SBA loans down to 6.37%, 25-year, it's 1% below prime rate. That's pretty good. So, Arizona population increased about 100,000 people a year for the last 3 years. So that's why we need all this building. So people talk about inventory rising. We still need those housing, and that's considered commercial, the land and the development. What else? A big company came in and bought 3 big buildings on Roosevelt Row in Phoenix. I don't get to downtown Phoenix a whole lot, but it's popular with the younger crowd. That downtown area is really revitalizing. And Caesars Republic Hotel just got financing. So watch where the big money is going. Like I say every week, there's a lot of private equity is picking up these mom and pop commercial properties. And they're trading and just, they do their homework. They have teams of attorneys and agents and brokers working on those deals, and they know where to spend their money. So as my client, the small investor, the small group of investors, follow those markets. See what's happening around the valley and jump in on that. That's going to get your best return in the commercial market. So I wanted to jump on the economy a little bit here. We had a big jobs number this morning. Not big. It was pretty much as expected. It was a little bit higher, but you'll notice the media really wants to talk about the negative and this, and I don't know why they do that and talk about recession. I looked back at videos, I think I mentioned it 2 years ago, they were talking about recession. Well, we had non-farm payrolls this morning up 137,000. It was expected to be up 125,000. 4.2% unemployment. Bonds ticked up on the news. Actually, bonds are higher today than they closed last week. We'll see where they close. But if your rates were down yesterday, so if you hear people today talking about rates being down, they're 2-3 days old. That was yesterday and the day before. They're back up higher than they've been all month, I think, this morning. So 4.3 on the 10-year. But, the economy is strong. It's rolling along. The economic numbers are good. The spending continues. Credit spending concerns me a little bit. People are living on credit. Homeowners have record equity, an average of $222,000. Is that right? $222,000 equity per homeowner. That's a lot. But also, they've increased HELOCs, home equity loans, have really jumped up this past few weeks. So people are borrowing against their house. That kind of got us into trouble last time. I don't think we're there. There's a lot of equity there. But people keep spending, and this economy just keeps rolling along. So don't listen to the doom and gloom. It's, pay attention to you, what matters to you. If you want to buy, I'm on your team. If you want to buy, let's go buy. Let's make it happen. If you want to sell, let's make it happen. I'm on your team. I have a fiduciary responsibility to my clients, to you, and to get you where you need to be. So this economy, they keep talking about uncertainty, but it just keeps going along and trucking along. So it's good, it's rolling along. And this big bill, it's the stupid fighting, whatever I think some of you know where I stand on that. But, we need tax cuts. We need to control spending. So anyway, I want to touch real quick on privacy. I believe that God brings people into your life as a lesson and educational. And I've had a lot of very elderly people calling me lately for some reason. I don't know. We've got, they want to sell their properties and they don't want their kids to know. We've got to go have a meeting today and get some signatures because it's funny. They don't use email. They don't text. They pick up the phone and call. No email. I've got to get some signatures for a couple hundred acres off of Route 8 there. But, just make sure I'm 50, so my parents, 70, 80, make sure that they have their estate set up, what they're going to do. We can refer you to some great attorneys, Medalist Legal. They're awesome over there. And some other ones to help you get that set up. People are elderly people. They are a target, and it scares the death out of me. That's why we really are focusing on privacy for our clients lately. Did you know ChatGPT? ChatGPT can if you check a button or if you don't uncheck a button, it can go through all of your emails. And that's another thing I want to touch base on. If your representative, your agent, your broker is using a Gmail account, all of your financial information is exposed. If you're sending emails back and forth, that's dangerous. So, I don't know. Use a professional that has a professional email that's protected. So, anyway, I want to touch base real quick. Interest rates. You keep hearing about, even my favorite president talks about lowering it. Jerome Powell is 100% right by sticking. We have an inflation problem. We have a spending problem. And I've mentioned it before. The Fed controls monetary policy. The U.S. Treasury controls fiscal policy. Nobody sets an interest rate. The Federal Reserve, the Federal Open Market Committee sets a target range for depository institutions to lend money to each other to meet overnight reserve requirements. It's a range. It's not a rate. And they get to that range by buying and selling bonds and U.S. Treasuries. There's a whole bunch of things going on. It's like, Peter Ladronica, he was an old boss of mine many years ago. He always said, people say you step on the gas and the car goes. There's 1,000 things that happen in between stepping on the gas and your car going down the road. That's how bonds work. Nobody just sets the rate. They balance the money supply by financial institutions borrowing overnight from each other. And then once financial institutions, this is going to go too long. I'm going to do a YouTube video later on and explain it. But then it's basically the financial institutions have a target rate borrowing money between each other. From those, the banks add a little bit onto there, and then the wholesale mortgage companies add a little bit onto there, and then the mortgage broker and the banks set the mortgage rate. So there's a lot of people take their spread out of the interest rate from the Federal Reserve banks borrowing from each other overnight. I know that probably doesn't make sense because I'm rushing through it, but I'm going to do a separate video on that on our YouTube channel. But anyway, we're here. We protect your privacy. We're here to help you buy or sell, whatever you need to do. If you just have a question, working through a deal. Deals are a little bit challenging lately, but they're happening, And like I said, I'm not here to sell you something. I'm here to get you where you want to be. So, just pay attention to who you're listening to. There's a lot of bad information out there, even within the industry. Some respected analysts don't know what they're talking about. Economics and real estate analysts. So just pay attention, and all that is noise. It really depends on what works for you. How can we get you to where you need to be and make it happen for you? So facilitate, educate, and advise. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We've got some running around to do today, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye. 203-733-5877.